talking with Missy Parker, and we're now listening to another piece of her music. And I would like you to talk with us a little bit about your music career and your performing career. If you're willing.
I am certainly willing. Being the shy and retiring person.
Yes, yes, she's very shy.
The wall
Takes a lot to pull it out.
Yeah. It's like pulling, I know it's like pulling teeth.
I know.
It's so difficult.
Well, I had this mixed blessing curse of somehow getting the music gene. And I followed up on it. Growing up, I played over the course of my life a dozen different instruments. Played in rock and roll bands, and played drums and bass and guitar and yada yada yada, and also keyboard. And I got into a lot of different aspects of the music business after I got out of college and moved to Hollywood, and scored some films and music for film and television. I actually studied arranging and orchestration from Henry Mancini. Name dropping.
That's a good one. You're gonna drop a good one.
I feel like I took a course in Hollywood name dropping. And yeah, toured around the country and played with all kinds of different bands and groups and organizations and recorded, and all the while, you know, I felt that I was not presenting my true, authentic self. So there's this sense of hiding, there's this sense of, yes, shame, there's this sense of internalized transphobia that we were talking about. And a lot of the avenues and information and groups and organizations like yours just either didn't exist or I didn't know about them. So you feel like you're a stranger in a strange land, neither fish nor fowl, and you don't know where you fit in. So I just kept it under wraps for the longest time. And then finally, I came bursting out of the closet at warp speed because it was getting awfully stuffy in that closet.
Yeah. And, I understand.
well, here's the beauty in all this. There's no choice in life but to be yourself. Your true, authentic, core self. You know, live free or die, as our founding fathers said. Because life is short, and this is not a dress rehearsal.
It's one of my favorite.
This is
one of my favorite lines.
This is it.
It's true.
Yeah, this moment that we're sharing right now will never, ever, ever, in the history of the universe, happen again. And we've just lived it, and so why not make that a perfect quality kind of thing? In fact, this exact precise moment, the way I look at it, is a gift. This nanosecond of precise moment. And that's why they call it the present. Isn't that fun?
So I wanted to ask you, what was it like for you when you started to transition? You know, because now you're going through these crazy hormone changes. You're introducing these hormones into your system that weren't already there. And now, and you're, you have, is there a question?
There is a question from the chat room.
Oh, well, we'll go to that first.
The answer is yes, I'm available.
You're not far off there. The question is, written as personal curiosity for Missy, what's sex like? How is it different or the same for you comparatively?
Okay.
That's exactly how it was written.
I'll answer that in one word. It's fabulous. it's, what can I say? Yes, it is the best of both worlds. And I relate as a woman with either women, other women, or with men, or with transgender people. So I actually identify as pansexual in that sense. If you have a pulse and you're halfway attractive and intelligent, you can be on the menu. But going back to the hormone issue, I must say, for people in your audience who are considering transition or know people who are, or just are curious about it, these things, hormones, are extremely powerful chemicals.
The most powerful chemicals in your body.
The most powerful. And, you know, the endocrine system is very twitchy, developing the pituitary glands. Men and women both have have estrogen and testosterone in different proportions.
Mm-hmm.
And the unfair secret is that women have enough testosterone to keep the game interesting because that is what is their sex drive.
Mm-hmm.
The differentiation is that men have 10 to 100 times that amount, so that you can only imagine why men, other brain is located in another part of their body, and that's why.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I noticed that when I started taking hormones, so much changed.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was going through puberty for the second time.
And I didn't like it the first time. I didn't like it over the second time.
This is, and I'm still going through it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, my emotions, I got more emotional, my skin got softer,
Mm-hmm.
my muscle strength just disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Even my thinking changed. For example, I developed an addiction to shopping. And I developed an addiction to blame. But I lost a couple of old addictions. For example, for some reason, I just can't watch Monday Night Football or the Three Stooges anymore. What the heck is all that about?
Good Lord.
That doesn't make any
It's
sense
gone.
to me. Yeah,
Out the window.
it's just
No.
But answer to your question, it's coming out, transitioning was difficult because look, I missed out on girlhood 101. So I had to learn it the hard way. And I got to tell you, I got red all the time when I first came out of the closet. That's because I was wearing the whole goddamn closet. I mean, no. I mean, I look like a cross between a pinata and a disco ball.
There's no manual?
I didn't
It doesn't
know.
come out of the sky?
Look, I was buying my cosmetics at Home Depot. Well, I didn't know. You know, a little spackle, #2 sandpaper, you know. So,
And I see that happen, and I think that is part of what may be off-putting to others who are watching someone transition. Very often when you see someone who is transsexual, there is this sort of, okay, we're going to go with overshoot the feminine or overshoot the masculine, and so now we're going to go into hyper-feminine mode or hyper-masculine mode, and really make it so clear to you that I'm one or the other, because I don't want you to see the other thing.
you can understand the sense of urgency to make
yeah.
up for lost time because there was not the normal transition. And look, I'm assuming that both of you had a chance to do all this outrageous experimentation with makeup and the world's worst eyeliner and sparkly
We can talk
eyeshadow.
about how I looked in the 80s. Thank
Look,
you.
guess what?
There's some moments.
But guess what? That's what I'm going through now. Oh my God! At a much later age in life.
I don't recommend taking watercolor paint.
Wow.
I did some great.
Oh no! Did you?
Oh my God.
Oh my God! Did you get it in your eye?
Oh, I did stuff like all.
Did you look at Catwoman?
Well, I grew up during the '80s, and so I'm watching, MTV, and
Oh,
so
yes.
I'm like taking my makeup tips from Boy George.
Yes.
And
Oh, yes.
oh my
With
God,
the line and the line. Oh,
listen.
the hair.
Listen, when I first came out, I looked like the love child of Boy George and the Queen of England. No, the other Queen of England. Elton John.
You got to get the clip.
That's right.
Lame.
So I'm experimenting. I'm still experimenting. I'm learning all the stuff that I didn't get a chance to learn. Fashion, makeup, what's appropriate, and that's why you see cross-dressers who are different motivation than transsexuals, because they don't want to become the other sex. They just want to play at being the other sex for sexual reasons, which is perfectly fine. It's lovely to experiment with being the other gender. And I think everybody should do it. It's the most interesting ride at the carnival.
Yeah.
But the difference is that cross-dressers are confused with transsexuals who are confused with drag queens. And
there's a difference.
And there's a huge
Big difference.
Drag artists, and they are artists, are commonly natally born men who dress up as women. However, they don't identify as women. They still identify as men.
Yeah.
Tend to be gay males who will do drag. But they're not looking for authenticity at all. They're looking for a hyper characterization, almost a cartoonish
The show.
of how they envision women. Gay men who are not interested in women sexually, but like to portray
or even
them.
becoming women.
They're not, because they identify as men, as gay males.
This is dress up to the extreme.
It's a Halloween masquerade ball.
Yeah.
For me, this is not Halloween. This is me.
This is every day.
This is every day. This is who I actually am. So I imagine there might be one or two people in your audience who were lumping drag queens, transsexuals, cross-dressers all together. But they're all a world apart. For example, I mean, it's a proven fact that most cross-dressers are heterosexual males. They're not gay males, for the most part, like 90%.
Yeah, it's a large percentage.
Married, kids, and blah, blah, blah. And they like to play at this. They don't identify as women. They like to cross-dress, usually for sexual gratification. Transsexuals, transgender people identify as that gender. That's who they are, regardless of what their birth certificate said. Drag queens, drag artists are, generally speaking, gay males who identify as gay males. So these are different universes, and this is important distinction to know.
Absolutely, and I actually want to bring up, we had, I think last season, we had Lisa Volpe, who is a drag king. This is a woman.
Right, lovely.
Lesbian woman who plays male roles. She's with the Los Angeles Women's Shakespeare group.
Right.
And she plays the leading male roles.
Amazingly so.
Amazingly so. And you see her in makeup doing the roles, you wouldn't know.
But as we all know, up until the 1600s, women were not allowed by law to be on stage. You could not be an actress. You had to have a male playing a female part, and that existed all through Shakespeare's time. Not a lot of people that know that's where the term drag comes from, is because the boy who was playing Juliet in Romeo and Juliet had a large gown which would drag across the stage, and hence the term drag came from 400 years ago. But not long after Shakespeare died, then they, I believe it was King Charles II, something like that, allowed women on stage, and so all those guys were out of a gig. Yeah, overnight.
Well, they probably went into other gigs.
I'm sure they had other overnight gigs.
They went into prostitution, we know it. Come on, they became hookers.
There are sex workers in the room. What you're telling me?
All is fair.
Well, they still know all the tricks of makeup.
Absolutely. So with your activism, what are you doing with that? What do you want to do in your little part of the world? What are you trying to do?
Well, my mission statement is to make a safer world for all people, but the goal that I have in mind is when gender expression is a non-issue. I don't expect to live to see that. I think we're talking about some futuristic kind of a thing hundreds of years from now, when there will literally be this science fiction kind of multi-genderal expression that we can only imagine. And I'd like to do my part, and this is kind of my mission. I, as I said, I'm on the front lines of trans activism. I go out and speak at colleges, universities, organizations, police, sheriff, all kinds of things. I write on the subject, I publish on the subject, and I perform as a performer, a musician and comic. And I use that forum as a disarming tool to try to educate the world one audience at a time. So I'm thrilled, again, for the invitation to be on your show to try to dispel some of the mythology about sexuality. Sexuality in itself is such a taboo. If you have to show pictures of a woman's urethra and people go, what is that?
Yeah.
To me, that's a little scary. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're over you're 12 years old, you should kind of have an idea of what's going on.
Yeah.
I want to go back. So I'm talking to cops and sheriffs and that kind of segment of the population, that group. I mean, I'm curious about how those conversations, if there are different questions that are asked, if there's, just kind of how that conversation happens and what they say to you, if they, how to handle things and kind of.
Right. I'm going to get more comfortable.
Oh, please.
I'm very proud to tell you that the LAPD, the Los Angeles Police Department, has moved light years in terms of education. I mean,
Now they have like a whole workplace training thing.
Oh
don't
my God! They have seminars and lectures and this and that, and because you're dealing with humanity, whether it's LGBT or BDSM or what, people running, so they need to know.
Yeah.
And there was a time not long ago when Los Angeles did not have an enviable record on this, and people like myself would mysteriously disappear. Then you find somebody's skeleton off in the woods, and that's what would happen. In fact, it still happens around the world on a routine basis, which is why once a year in major cities in the United States and throughout the world have something called the Transgender Day of Remembrance. And it remembers transsexuals who have been brutally murdered simply for being themselves. Just for existing, just for breathing, not for doing anything wrong. And there are these horror stories from South America, Central America, parts of Asia, where transsexuals are brutalized in the most heinous kinds of ways. I don't mean just merely killed with a gun and they're dead. I'm talking about mutilated, decapitated, burned, stabbed multiple times. I mean, this is evokes such a visceral thing. Like I say, you push a lot of society's buttons when you challenge something as basic as your anatomical sex. So every year there's a Transgender Day of Remembrance. And these lovely, lovely people, we're talking about human beings. And going back to, I think, a mission statement of your organization is to normalize the aspect of human sexuality in which it does not hurt anybody, in which it is consensual. I have consented with myself, it's okay. And just to know that you can express yourself. I mean, this is the important mission. Just let people be who they are. Life's too short to get worried about all this. I don't know.
Well, I know that I remember hearing, reading a story that was put out that the LA Police Department had someone transition. So there was an actual police officer, and I don't remember in what direction, and I don't remember exactly what the case was, but someone who worked for the LAPD transitioned. And this was just a few years ago, it wasn't that long ago. And I was so impressed with how well the organization handled it, because they did this entire workplace training, they did this whole thing. It wasn't this person immediately got fired, it wasn't that this person was immediately a pariah, it wasn't this person was immediately, okay, we're shuffling you off into this back corner somewhere so that no one has to interact with you.
Right.
It's exemplary. It's really very enlightening. And this is only recently.
Very recently.
Because people like myself, who might be, say, pulled over for a parking ticket, or a speeding ticket, or light or something, if your driver's license did not match what your appearance was, you could quite likely be raped, beaten. This is by the police. Thrown off into God knows where, a ravine, and never heard from again. That's not fiction. That actually happened. And going back to this normalization thing, I think it's important for your viewers to know that whether you're gay, transsexual, bisexual, into a BDSM world and everything, the commonality is this sense of mutual respect. Every person has a mother and father at one time. They all breathe. They eat, they sleep, they laugh, they cry. I remember I had this whole new aha moment when I started dating men as a woman. And it was funny too, because the guys were using the same pickup lines on me that I used to use on women back in college.
And how well did they work?
And they didn't
And
work back.
and you still wanted to turn around and be like, I not only heard that one, I said that.
Yeah, the lines didn't work back then
They
either.
didn't work, didn't work for me.
Oh, listen, hey, back in college, I was this handsome, athletic chick magnet. Now I'm just a chick with a magnet. So, anyway, I had this guy take me out, and mostly I attract these one-night stand tranny chasers who are out to just, explore their bisexuality, bisexual, gay light. And so we're at a public restaurant. His hands are all over me like an octopus. And I am no prude, believe me, but there's a time and a place. And look, I went to a lot of trouble to be a woman. I like to be treated like a lady. And I was like, hey, wait a minute.
Right?
Yeah, we haven't even finished dinner.
No,
You even got a drink.
hey, you gotta give me roses and a box of chocolates if you want
Something.
to get in my pants. I know. They used to say at college how the guys just wanted to get in girls' pants. For me, it gave a whole new meaning to the term because I just wanted to get in their pants.
You literally fit
I just wanted to get into their pants.
Yes.
Anyway, so I had to kind of tell this guy. I said, look, I'm a woman. With a little something extra. Well, not so little, but a little something extra. 110% woman, and now you know where the 10% is located. And, I said, I'm not a lab experiment.
Yeah.
I'm not an inflatable party doll. I'm an actual human being with emotions. And I feel very, very disrespected. Well, if you want to date and be, and maybe that'll develop into something sexual and intimate, but I'm not some like rag doll.
Yeah.
And this guy was like, he gave me that sort of Cocker Spaniel look where he goes, where I was talking dog English to him.
Right.
And of course, the date, promptly ended within moments. But yeah, it's very interesting. In fact, in dating men as a new woman, I've learned that what I'm looking for is a man who will love me, a man who will cherish me, a man who is rich, and a man who is great in bed. And most of all, I must never let those four men meet each other, because that would just
That'd be horrible.
That would ruin the whole thing right there. It would just blow the whole thing. Yeah.
I agree completely.
Completely.
But going back to LAPD, not long ago, when they would pick up transsexuals or transgender people, or sex workers, they would throw them into, it was only based on one question. Do you have a penis or not? Yes or no?
No, I don't think so.
That was the issue. So you are thrown into a holding cell. I'm dressed like this in a whole bunch of drunken guys. You tell me what you think is going to happen.
Yeah.
And they could care less.
Yep.
So, and this was in recent history in the LAPD, or police departments all over the world would go, tough luck,
Not my problem.
not my problem. You have a penis, you're going in there. And you would get beaten, raped, sodomized, blah, 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 blah. within an inch of your life. Now this still happens.
Yes.
All over the world.
It's only very recently.
Only
that
very recently.
Some districts,
Mhm.
some parts of some
Yes,
districts.
right. Well,
will make that
LAPD
distinction.
and New York and some other enlightened police departments have a special section for trans people and for their own protection. I mean, doesn't this make sense? You would think this would have made sense a long time ago, but no.
Yeah.
But now, so things are moving in the right direction, but they're moving slowly. They're moving at glacial speed.
Yeah. But they're getting there. They're getting there.
Slowly but surely.
So we only have a few minutes left for the show. So plug your stuff.
Please
Tell
email me if you'd like to know more about my show. I travel around the country performing my one-woman transgender music and comedy show. So email me at tggifted, Gifted, at AOL.com. So it's TG like in transgender and the word gifted. No spaces, no hyphens. So TGGIFTED at AOL.com. And for those of you who live in the Los Angeles area, please come and see my fabulous show. Best show I ever saw.
You're getting a standing digital ovation. in the
A
chat
digital
room.
ovation.
Very nice. Oh my.
I'd love to see that digital up close. Hi, honey.
Can people contact you about getting some of your music as well?
Yes.
Perfect.
Happy to sell my albums to
Great.
folks, and so you just email me at tggifted.
And if somehow you didn't get that right or you missed it, email one of us.
Email.
And we will send it along and make sure everybody gets a contact.
Well, it has been a real pleasure being on the
Thank you
show
so
here
much.
with you.
Really
How
appreciate
fun
it.
is this?
Thank you. Thank you so much. This has been Is This Normal with the Center for Positive Sexuality with Sarah and Emily and our wonderful guest, Missy Parker.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.